Hi, everybody. Welcome back to where am I? Where am I, Gary? What show am I at? BlackHat USA 2022. This is episode 2669 at SecurityGuyTV.com. My next guest, Mr. Gary Phipps. He's with CyberGRX.com. Mr. Gary, welcome to the show, my friend.
Oh, thank you for having me, Chuck, and welcome to the high desert.
Yes, I'm in my low desert out here. It's pretty hot today out here in Phoenix, and I'm glad you have a great Wi-Fi connection. You're at the show. At the Four Seasons, streaming in. This is fantastic. Today's topic is third-party cyber risk resilient risk intelligence insights from CyberGRX exchange platform. A lot to say. Tell us what you guys do first. Give me a little overview of what your company does.
Yeah, sure. Here at CyberGRX, we provide our clients and business partners portfolio-wide visibility of the threats that are facing our customers that are coming to them that from their extended digital ecosystem. And so what that essentially entails is that we provide our customers the ability to essentially ingest a portfolio of their entire supplier ecosystem to identify those particular threats that create the most exposure, and then to take action on those. And that could be a wide variety of different types of things that they want to be able to do, from performing an inherent risk assessment to take action to be able to identify what capabilities those third parties have to prevent a particular type of threat, and then identify particular deficiencies, and then to shore those up, of course.
So visibility is not a new thing, but I'm glad it's kind of gaining traction, because really it's the only way we can get ahead of this. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was at Disney, I asked the real estate company inside Disney, how many properties do you have? Can you send me the addresses? I wanted to do surveys. We don't know. They had no idea. I myself went around to every organization in the company and found out Disney owned 1,600 properties worldwide. They had no idea centrally how many properties they had. So that's a visibility issue. And then, of course, changed our whole assessment on how to provide security for this stuff. So I love what you're doing. It's so important. What are the traditional shortcomings for a traditional risk assessment process? And let the organizations know how that leaves them vulnerable.
Well, the shortcomings of a traditional assessment, quite frankly, there aren't any. I mean, for the purpose in which a traditional assessment was designed, it's perfectly fit for purpose. But unfortunately, people actually use it for a lot of things in which it wasn't intended. It's kind of like the flathead screwdriver in my junk drawer. It gets used for just about everything except for flathead screws and bolts. And so, unfortunately, we encounter a lot of clients and prospects that come to us and they use, a very lengthy onboarding questionnaire for pre-contract diligence, but they also use it for, things like a mid-cycle review for high-risk vendors, medium-risk vendors, or low-risk vendors. And they also use it to triage application vulnerabilities and things to that effect. And quite frankly, they end up using the same tool for every single type of interaction that they have. And as a result, they end up essentially compromising, the purpose of the particular interaction. And so if you go back to the reason why the, traditional self-assessment was built, it's perfectly fit for purpose, but I think that we've kind of moved on past that. And as a result, we need something much faster, a lot quicker, a lot more efficient. And so I don't think there's really a place for a traditional self-assessment at this point. So,
well, it's almost like
cheeky response, but
well, that's cheeky moves the industry forward, doesn't it? Right? You got to be honest about it. I mean, it's almost like the you really made your point. The fact that they're not utilizing the assessment for its purpose is the vulnerability, greater than the vulnerability itself in some ways. Interesting. Now, what features has CyberGRX introduced to ease the assessment process for both the customers and the third parties? Because that word ease, I think, is critical. Because if I'm the buyer at the high end and I'm the CISO, I get it. But if I'm the user, this seems more difficult to me, right? Because I don't understand the technology. So that ease part is really important.
Yeah, I think that part of what we've done is we've kind of put the hay down where the cows can get to it, so to speak. And so what we're trying to do is enable our our customers and third parties through the platform itself by applying predictive intelligence capability directly in the interface, such that we identify those particular deficiencies or those controls that are, you know, suspicious within the platform based on the intended purpose of that particular third-party service. And so what that allows us to do is to be much more efficient about the assessment that we perform. And when I say assessment, I mean, it's not necessarily in the traditional type sense. An assessment is essentially you trying to find out some information that puts you at risk. And so what we are essentially able to do is to crowdsource a lot of information. We try to figure out exactly what it is that our customers are trying to use that service provider for. And then we put the most important information on the screen, and we identify those particular deficiencies that we believe that third party may have. So our customer can have an interaction directly with that third party, and instead of engaging in 1,000-question questionnaire, let's ask the 4 or 5 or 15 questions that we need to ask to make sure that those controls are in place so we can get on with the business at hand, instead of having a 6-month interaction that slows down business and innovation. And that's what our focus is here, is to get on with the business at hand.
So what should organizations be looking for in a risk assessment? You kind of alluded to it a minute ago. And what questions should they be asking that they're currently not asking, by the way? I think that's an important issue.
I think that most of the customers that we encounter, when they come to us, they're essentially doing something today. And I think everybody is doing a pretty good job at essentially asking, for the most part, the same questions. We're all trying to get to the same information. I think that what we're doing is we're all asking the same questions, but we're not asking the ones that are the most important up front. And so it comes down to efficiency. And so, if I'm concerned about a phishing attack, I need to be talking about security awareness training up front. I don't need to spend a ton of time on the things that, aren't associated with the sharks closest to the boat up front. I need to get to the things that are important immediately. And then if I, want to take care of the other, accoutrement, so to speak, I can kind of figure that out at some point when time allows. But I need to take care of those things that are, very critical in a highly fashion. More importantly, though, I think that what we need to be focusing on, the questions that we have to ask, are the things that only a human being can respond to. And so what we're also focusing on here is ensuring that when we have to engage a human to another human, that it's only that information that we can't go figure out in an automated way. And so if I have to go find out if a third party has a policy, a particular document on hand, that's the type of interaction that we want our customers to be focused on, not something that we can go find out through machine learning, for example. So it's not about the questions, it's about the things that we can't figure out ourselves for our customers on behalf of them before they even get to the questionnaire itself.
Lost my own audio there. That's a question I should ask myself. Why didn't I turn the button on? Sorry about that. Mr. Gary, good stuff, my friend. CyberGRX, we're live from BlackHat USA 2022. Find Gary, look him up, and engage, because Gary walks walk, talks talk, my friend. Back in a minute here on SecurityGuyTV.com. Thanks, Gary.
Thanks, Chuck.